Hello, fellow classmates of Human Resources Management, and hello, Dr. Sanchez. My name is Lauren Bailey, and today I will be presenting my graduate research project on the positive impact employee training has on an organization's bottom line. As I continue through this presentation, I will be examining the positive impact that employee training and development has on an organization's bottom line or profit. I will also be discussing why companies with thorough training programs are more successful and function more smoothly than companies who do not invest in these types of training programs. To reach that determination, I will first clearly define employee training and identify effective training strategies and programs in the 21st century workforce. I will then provide examples through research to support how training can influence turnover in companies and how turnover affects a company's profit. An assessment will be done regarding the legal risks associated with a lack of training and how legal claims may decrease with proper training. I will analyze the pros and cons of implementing training programs, summarize how organizations can save money in the long run from training, and offer suggestions for future training programs. So what is the definition of training? Training is the process of providing employees with the necessary skills, knowledge, and abilities to perform their jobs. It is a necessary step when beginning a new position or while faced with changes in an organization throughout one's career. Employees can be trained to learn hard skills, for example, learning how to use a piece of equipment or certain technology used in a particular position. Soft skills can also be taught and learned, which include skills such as leadership, communication, and teamwork, which may not come easy to all individuals and take years to master. Training can be functional, formational, experiential, vocational, or a combination of those types. The training process is not complete when a trainer or supervisor tells or shows an employee what to do, but instead when the employee has effectively transferred that knowledge and applied it to their position, demonstrating that they have an understanding how to perform that task. This process is called training transfer. Even the most expensive or detailed training program can be ineffective if the employee is unable to apply what they have learned to their job. Every company, regardless of their size, conducts some type of training for its employees in order to help accomplish its procedural and operational goals. Whether a new hire learns how to perform the duties of their new position by shadowing another employee, reading a manual, or attending a well-planned training course, the goal of training is to get the new employee comfortable in completing their tasks. Some training programs are more extensive than others, depending on how upper management feels about the training process. Some executives, or those in positions of upper management, see training as an expense, since programs can be costly to create and implement and may, in their opinions, only offer short-term solutions. Executives who hold that view might agree that when their company is struggling financially, the training program should be the first eliminated from the budget. Among other reasons, the most basic reasons for training are to ensure that employees are providing customers with excellent customer service and are knowledgeable about the products or services being delivered. Training in each department of a company must occur to see that the needs of each department are met and duties are accurately performed. At a minimum, safety training must be done in the workplace to meet OSHA laws and regulations to prevent employee injuries on the job, thus preventing workers' compensation and legal claims. Why do companies then go through the trouble of training employees and creating comprehensive training programs? Aside from those minimum expectations of training programs that we just discussed, why does training really matter? Additional positive results come from thorough training, including job satisfaction among employees, less turnover, better productivity, higher quality work product, and fewer legal claims. These factors will be discussed at length throughout the presentation. However, the short answer to why companies should care about the benefits of employee training is that it saves more money in the long term for these various reasons. Instead of being viewed as an expense, it should be viewed as an investment that is worth the costs both short term and long term. In order for any type of training program to be effective, there must first be a needs assessment to determine details such as what type of training must be conducted and in what form it should be, who needs to receive it, and how the results will later be evaluated. During this assessment or analysis phase, the trainer must conduct an organizational analysis, job task analysis, or individual analysis, or a combination of the three. In an organizational analysis, it must be understood what knowledge, skills, and abilities are required of each department, and what types of training would help the employees meet those requirements. Job or task analysis is performed to determine what each position is lacking and how a position or employee can improve in order to perfect the tasks necessary for that job. Individual analysis can be done by managers and or trainers by reviewing an employee's performance reviews or having the employee take an assessment related to their role. Next, since everyone processes information differently, and since not all information can be delivered effectively the same way, the trainer must decide which learning tactics would be best received by the group of learners. The trainer needs to consider their audience and learning styles each member has in order to blend techniques and cater to the needs of their audience. There is, for example, on-the-job training, which is self-explanatory, cross-training, where employees learn what each other do in the department and teach each other a little bit about each of their positions, or outsourcing, where employees might receive training from an outside firm. The delivery of training, whether internal or external, must also be designed based on the needs of the audience and in a way that accurately demonstrates the material being taught. For example, some material is more easily learned and better retained if the employees do a physical, hands-on training, while other material is better presented through a classroom setting. Traditional classroom training is best used for presenting facts and data. For adult learners, it is best to incorporate many interactive aspects of classroom training and breaks. An apprenticeship allows employees to get hands-on, on-the-job experience, which may be helpful for roles such as electricians, construction workers, or carpenters. E-learning is described as any teaching and learning that is assisted in some way by technology both in and outside of a classroom setting with an interactive approach. Online learning has increased in popularity and effectiveness over the last several years and will continue to be used by employers in the future. Training through technology allows all employees the flexibility to learn at their own speed at home or on lunch breaks, while they can multitask if they want or take as many breaks as they need. Webinars are a helpful way for employees from different locations to attend the same conference or training presentation without leaving the state that they're in or the country that they're in, and just all being able to tune in to the same presentation from the comfort of their own home or office. They can be watched by employees during their lunch break or continuously throughout one's employment as training is needed, just to learn a new topic in their field, since webinars provide instruction in reasonably short periods of time. Simulations are best used for occupations or positions that require training in dangerous or potentially harmful settings, such as the military, or for nursing students to practice medical procedures. With virtual reality training, three-dimensional technology will create simulations for trainees to walk through a scenario that they will face on the job or in their role. Virtual classrooms may be required to replicate the exact setting and accomplish the goal of making the training feel as realistic as possible. Mobile learning allows employees to view their training materials on their smartphones or tablets and enables them to pick up their mobile devices and learn whenever they have a few minutes to spare. Instead of choosing one method to teach employees, trainers may get the best results from blended learning, which combines different approaches to communicate the information by using two or more of these techniques. During the last phase of training, the evaluation phase, the entire program's results must be reviewed thoroughly in order to revisit and revise the program for future learners. It is critical that feedback is received and considered so the training program is constantly developed and improved for future learners. The training itself should be transferable and used in the learners' daily jobs and supported by their managers. Lastly, the idea of continuous improvement rather than a one-time employee training session is what sets certain training programs apart from others. Next, I will discuss how job satisfaction and productivity increase after proper training. By conducting the analysis phase discussed earlier and using that information to design a training program, the needs of the organization and the individual employees' needs are being met. By creating an interesting program that speaks to what employees need and what want to learn based on what they currently lack or based on something that motivates them, they are more likely to retain information. Studies have shown that increased training promotes an increase in productivity. Being able to transfer their knowledge from training into their daily work activities increases productivity and leads to personal professional development. Depending on the company's financial well-being, better performance will oftentimes lead to promotions and/or raises. This process makes employees feel listened to, valued, and appreciated, which in turn increases their job satisfaction and lessens the likelihood of them leaving the company for a position elsewhere. Next, we will discuss why it is important to minimize turnover in the workplace and how thorough training can help. For employers, there are many disadvantages to having high percentages of turnover, which include many hard costs, such as pay, benefits, the cost of training materials, possible legal fees, and recruiting costs, as well as soft costs, such as the time spent training the employee, less productivity, and decrease in morale for remaining employees. These costs vary depending on variables such as the industry, position, and the amount of training provided, but it is typically thousands of dollars per employee to turn over and hire another employee in the same position. When provided training opportunities, employees become pro-socially motivated and are more willing to put forth effort to improve themselves and the company. Organizations who offer employees regular feedback and performance appraisals and invest in thorough training for their employees have been found to experience less turnover, therefore saving in turnover costs. Retention increases when companies provide employees with a learning environment and guides them down paths for personal development. Studies show that there are positive associations between training and retention, as well as positive associations between training and employee loyalty. For companies to defend legal claims that have been filed against them, it is extremely costly. Employment lawyers typically cost hundreds of dollars per hour to consult companies on how to handle situations, prepare position statements, and attend mediation or arbitration sessions. As the process of a legal claim takes months and sometimes years just for one legal claim alone, it is critical for employers to control these costs and these risks so that their legal fees do not become astronomical. As mentioned in previous slides, at a minimum, training employees on workplace safety can reduce the risk of employers getting workers' compensation claims and potential legal claims. However, by employees better understanding their jobs, knowing how to better handle certain customer service issues, and managerial employees being trained in basic EEO and state laws, can all reduce the chances of legal claims. All employees should be included in training efforts in order to create fair opportunities for everyone, which also reduces the risk of disparate impact claims if an employee believes that they did not have the same opportunities as other employees. Companies can provide training sessions to educate managers on things such as how to properly performance manage an employee or how to document employee issues before terminating, which can prevent a legal claim from occurring in the first place or can help simplify the process down the line if a claim is filed. Training managers on how to properly accommodate an employee with a disability can prevent a violation under the ADA, the Americans with Disability Act, from happening. While conducting my research, I found that there is a lack of numerical data while comparing organizations who have comprehensive training programs with organizations who do not have comprehensive training programs or invest much in their training programs. I've also found that it is difficult for researchers to quantify the variable for measuring training provided, and that the relationship is somewhat unclear between costs of training and training effectiveness. In peer-review articles that I have read, there is little information on how much money companies actually spend on creating comprehensive training programs. However, throughout my research, I did find that there are advantages to training, that's without a doubt. Excuse me. To assist employers with their training efforts, I suggest that employers hire training experts to conduct a proper assessment of the needs of their organization. This will make the investment of training worthwhile, as it will accurately depict what training needs to be done. I also suggest that employers not only use employee development plans annually to set long-term goals with their employees, but also that they create development plans that can be reviewed on a more regular basis, such as monthly. Part of these development plans will be to conduct individual analysis and provide training to employees in areas where their manager feels they need it the most, or in specific areas where the employee would like to improve. Webinars and online training is a cost-effective way to allow employees continuous learning opportunities. Managers should provide employees with regular feedback, even if it is informal, to help guide employees down the path of knowledge and motivate them. Any new hire training or training that is required as a part of a change in a position should be a comprehensive, interactive training program that the employee can practice in their everyday role, which is transfer of training, and it should all be encouraged and supported by their supervisor. To summarize my findings, my research has proven my prediction that training has a direct positive impact on organizations. The advantages are that it's a long-term investment. Training increases productivity, motivation, job satisfaction, employee retention, customer satisfaction, and it reduces risk. The perceived disadvantages are that training can be expensive to conduct. Training can also be somewhat time-consuming. As you can see, the advantages of training employees outweighs the disadvantages, as training is an investment on a company's greatest assets, its employees. Training may be costly and time-consuming to implement. but the long-term benefits and the savings that it brings are well worth the initial costs. Thank you everyone for viewing and listening to my presentation today. Feel free to ask me any questions you have regarding this information or regarding anything that I may have missed. Thanks again.